Hello, my name is Julian, and let's talk about ear protection. Now, me being a cellist and a musician, along with you guys, of course, we all get exposed to so many different soundscapes, right? And especially when we're in the orchestral setting where we're playing with maybe from like 75 to upwards to more than 100 players at once, all making sound. It's so important for us to make sure that we protect our hearing, but also make sure that we're able to keep that audio quality that we hear through the buds that we use. And I'm going to talk about two different earbuds that I have actually personally used and that I think are some pretty good recommends for you guys. But before we talk about those two, let's talk about why it's so important to protect your ears. And of course, the main thing is that you want to protect your ears long term. You still want to be able to hear all the different frequencies that you can, be able to differentiate all the different timbres in your hearing. But also on a more human level, we need to hear all those nuances in frequencies for like voice or whatever, right? Because those different timbres is what helps us to be able to recognize different speech patterns or whatever, right? And also helps us with making sure that we try to minimize tinnitus, the ringing in our ears, right? But the problem is that, like, even seeing in our own orchestra, that is a lot of times musicians tend to not wear ear protection, or maybe like in a band setting, like playing for like a casino gig or something. And most you'll see musicians use temporary disposable foam earplugs, and a lot of the time, those foam earplugs actually might not help as much because of just how much they distort the sound. Now, so that's why I think that the two choices that I'm going to show you guys today are better choices overall compared to using that other solution, right? But let's first talk about NRR, or noise reduction ratings. And these are basically the measurements of decibel reduction that these earplugs have on them. But take them with a grain of salt though, as they are usually done within controlled lab environments. So a lot of the ratings that might be shown might not translate into the real world. There's so many different factors that can enter your experience with the buds themselves, with one of the main things being the overall fit that it has on your ear. As the more poorly it fits, then the more sound leakage you get, which means that the less effective it is, right? Now, also, OSHA usually states that the actual noise reduction is often less than what they have labeled on. So again, really take it with a grain of salt. Let's start with foams with our baseline. And typically the NRR rating for those are around like 30 decibels. Now, the good thing about them is that they are very inexpensive, but with the cost of it really muffling the sound that you're hearing and just not being clear at all. Now, one of the first options that I have for you guys is eargasms, which typically range of about a 16 decibel reduction. And they use acoustic filtering within theirs. So by using that, it really preserves music clarity, which is very useful for us musicians, of course, as it really helps to preserve the sound that we're making with our own instrument. And of course, being very reusable. But the fit really depends on your own individual ear size. And they only really give two size options, one being a larger one and one being a smaller one. And they usually cost from anywhere between $45 to upwards of $60. Now, the other option are loop earplugs, and they typically range from a 16 to 18 decibel reduction. And they opt for a filtered attenuation design. And the pros is that they are very comfortable for long-term use, and they're super easy to put on. And the cool thing about loops too is that they usually give you a full set of either silicone or foam earpieces, and they also give you 3 different size options as well. So a lot more different ways for it to fit in your ear. You can usually find them from anywhere from $35 up to, again, that $60 mark. So me personally, I would say that loops are a pretty good all-rounder, as there's just way more options for you to set it to your own ear size or your own individual needs, right? But with the cost of it not being as clear sometimes, especially if you opt for the foam earpieces, but eargasms are a lot better, specifically for if you're in a performance, as it really helps maintaining all of the sound that you want to hear, right? All the frequencies that you want to hear on your instrument, as it really helps with keeping that clarity in check. You can usually find these two that I've recommended either on their official websites or on Amazon, or sometimes you can even find them in your local pharmacy or even supermarket, whatever, right? But anyway, protect your ears, super important. It's literally part of your job. It's literally part of you, of course. And yeah, these are I think I timed it correctly. I have my works cited right here. I'm not sure. Editing Julian will fix it. But yeah,